Hello Tubies! Today we're going to learn how to crochet a cloak. I've actually looked on the internet and could not find a pattern to make a cloak for crocheting, so I decided to make my own, and I wanted to share with you guys in case you wanted to make your own. What we're going to be needing is about 13 skeins, which, a package of yarn at the store is a skein. So we're going to need about 13 of those. You don't have to buy them all at once if you get a common color, but it is preferable that you get it all at once just because they have different dye lots. And a dye lot means that it was in a specific group of yarn that was dyed, and even though it says it's pink, like, this is pink, different dye lots or groups that were dyed at the same time might be a slightly different shade of pink. Like, it doesn't quite match, has that slight difference, but it's still considered the same pink by the company. So that's why they recommend to get the same color, all your yarn at once. Walmart, and I would recommend going to Walmart for your yarn, just because they tend to be a lot cheaper. You're also going to need a crochet hook, which you can also get at Walmart. The general sizes tend to be at Walmart. If you need a smaller size or a bigger size, then I recommend going to Michael's or Hobby Lobby. And we'll be going into detail about, what specifics in a minute. Back to the yarn, they do have larger skeins of yarn, which I have here. And this is actually the skeins I'm using. They're about twice as thick and a little bit longer, so they have a lot more yarn on them. And the bigger skeins tend to be overall cheaper. So you'd only have to get maybe about 7 of these instead, and pay maybe like 3/4 the original price of, getting 13 or 14 of these. The bigger skeins tend to come in the colors of like black, white, brown, red, the colors that people get a lot. I don't really recommend, even though the brand I recommend is machine washable, I don't recommend getting white just because you are most likely going to be wearing this outside, whether it be for costume or ritual. And you don't really want to get your cloak all dirty. So stick with, the darker colors, I would say. And then you can always do the trim, because I'm going to show you how to do trim in a lighter color. So you can get your lighter colors in there. We're going to talk about the crochet hook. It looks like this. They come, depending on the sizes, just to make it easier for people who can't really read small print. The crochet hooks do come in different colors. You'll notice on one side of the handle it'll have the brand, and mine is, I want to say, Boy or Boye, Boye. It's a fairly good brand, and it's hard to see on my camera, but right here it will have a letter, a slash, and a number, and then a dash, and then how thick in millimeters the hook actually is. And this one is 5 millimeters, which is a letter H. And the letter H actually, is just easier to say, so you know what size it is. I'm not quite sure what the 8 is. Don't ask me about that. I'm not that experienced to know what the 8 is. But for this specific cloak, if you're going to use the yarn that I recommend, if you want it to be tighter and warmer, I would say go with an H. If you want it to be average, I would say use, what comes before H? No, after H. I. I is what they recommend on the packaging for an average size stitch. This one, since it's a smaller hook, will actually make a smaller and tighter stitch. So I hook, letter I hook, is going to give you an average stitch. H is going to give you a smaller stitch. J, which is a larger hook, is going to give you a bigger stitch, which leaves more holes and might not make it quite as tight and warm. For the yarn, I have the package right here. I recommend getting Red Heart, and this is from the big yarn package right there, so it says Super Saver. So I definitely recommend getting Red Heart. Some people might find it a little bit scratchy. I know that Red Heart does come in soft, which is what this is, and if you do get it in soft, then I do recommend going down to the H hook, just because it tends to be a little bit thinner of yarn. What you're going to look at first is worsted. Worsted means its thickness, and its thickness is 4. I would also recommend getting machine washable. This square with the circle and the dot means that it is machine washable. If it has a red X like this iron does, it means that it should not be ironed. If you do machine wash it, wash it on gentle, and it says up to 104 degrees, but I would actually wash it on cold. Right here, it'll show you if you make a 10 stitch by 10 stitch or 10 row square, that it should come out, or 12 stitches by single crochet stitch by 15 rows, it should come out to about 4 by 4 inches. This square over here, and in the little square, it'll show you that it recommends an I hook. The square over here is if you're knitting, which we are not. The dye lot will usually be up here, but all their blacks are generally the same, so it does not have a dye lot. We're going to turn down here, which also has some other, oh, this is for the pattern, never mind. I got confused there, never mind. What else do we need to know about the packaging? The color. If you need to know the color, it's usually on the very, very back. Mine is black that I'm using for my cloak. 14 ounces, 396 grams, 744 yards, 681 meters. That's generally all you need to know. It actually has directions on here, which are very, very helpful of how to untie the yarn, which I will show you actually, because we take it apart and then bunch it all up and have to, rewind it into a ball, and then it would roll everywhere every time I pulled the yarn off. So, before we continue, how to actually take it apart, you're going to get it in a package, and you're going to set it sideways. One side is going to have the yarn coming out from inside. So, got the yarn, it's coming from inside. And that's where you're actually going to be working from. The other side is going to have the yarn coming unwinding. So it's going to be on the outside. You're going to pull the outside out, and you might actually have to pull out the yarn baby. That's what I call it. And it's a big bunch of yarn that'll just pop out, and that's fine. Any excess you just wrap around your skein. If it comes unraveled on the outside yarn, then I would just wrap it around the skein first, and then wrap the excess from the inside first, and then wrap it around. But yeah, we're going to be working the yarn from the yarn baby, the inside yarn. So next video I will show you the stitches that we are going to be using.